Do you want infinite free strawberries? I mean, it sounds like a total gardener's fantasy, doesn't it? But what if I told you that you don't need some high-tech lab to make it happen? You literally just need to understand the biological brilliance of the strawberry plant itself. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we are going to unlock the absolute magic of plant cloning. Now, if you've ever grown strawberries, you've probably noticed a pretty frustrating trend. Over time, usually after, say, 3 to 4 years, your once prolific patch just kind of starts to lose its vigor. The yields drop, the berries get way smaller, and the plants just seem tired. Well, don't worry. This is a completely normal genetic decline. The instinct for a lot of people is to just rip them all out and spend hard-earned money on brand new plants. But there is a much smarter, incredibly cost-effective solution right in front of you, and that is harnessing the strawberry plant's natural ability to reproduce. Okay, let's look at our agenda for today's masterclass. We'll start with an introduction to strawberry reproduction, move on to a detailed explanation of runners, walk through a step-by-step guide, cover troubleshooting common issues, share some additional tips, and finally wrap things up. All right, Section 1, Introduction to Strawberry Reproduction, the Magic of Plant Cloning. So, strawberries have this brilliant evolutionary strategy for expanding their territory. In the botanical world, this is known as vegetative propagation. Think of it as a completely natural cloning process. The mother plant sends out these specialized creeping stems. You can actually picture these stems as cloning cables. Through these cables, the mother plant pumps massive amounts of assimilates. We're talking water, nutrients, and energy directly into a new daughter plant. And because this doesn't involve seeds or cross-pollination, the new plant is an exact genetic replica of the mother. If your mother plant produces huge, sweet berries, the clone is going to do the exact same thing. Of course, timing is absolutely everything here. In the spring, your plants wake up and emerge. Then, as we move into early summer, right after that first flush of flowers and fruit, the plant enters what botanists classify as BBCH stage 4. This is the crucial explosive phase where the plant shifts its energy away from making fruit and into forming runners. By late summer or autumn, those runners have formed new plants that are perfectly ready for transplanting. And the craziest part, by the very next year, those brand new clones are already fruiting. Let's move to Section 2, Detailed Explanation of Runners, the Anatomy of a Cloning Cable. To really take advantage of this process, we need to look at exactly how these stems function. It all starts with a healthy mother plant. Ideally, you want one that's 1 to 3 years old. From her base, she shoots out these horizontal stems characterized by long internodes. Basically, that just means long stretches of smooth stem. Eventually, these stems form little nodes, and when a node makes contact with the soil, something pretty amazing happens. It immediately starts pushing roots downward into the earth, while simultaneously pushing a cluster of leaves, which we call a daughter rosette, upward. That little rosette? That is your brand new clone. Now, here is a truly wild statistic. Under ideal, completely sterile laboratory conditions, a single strawberry bush can produce up to 200 rosettes in a single season. I mean, that is a massive proliferation. But here is the critical warning for us home gardeners and farmers. In a real-world garden setting, quality always beats quantity. If you just let a plant produce dozens of clones unchecked, it spreads its energy way too thin. You'll end up with weak plants that simply won't survive the harsh winter. So, the crucial point to remember is this golden rule right here. Keep a maximum of 3 strong rosettes per runner, and absolutely pinch off the rest. The first rosette, the one closest to the mother plant, is going to be the strongest. The second will be great, and the third will be okay. Anything after that is just unnecessarily draining that cloning cable. By strictly limiting the number to 3, you guarantee that each new clone receives enough energy to build a really robust, deep root system. Okay, Section 3. Step-by-step guide, propagating strawberries via runners. Now it's time to actually put this into practice in your own dirt. Here are your 4 critical steps. First, during the fruiting season, you want to observe your plants closely. Tag the 1 or 2-year-old mothers that produce the absolute biggest, tastiest berries. Selecting these elite plants is what prevents that genetic yield drop we talked about earlier. Second, as they throw out runners, literally pin the nodes down to the soil using a small U-shaped piece of wire or even just a pebble. This guarantees good soil contact. Third, wait until the rosette has about 3 to 5 leaves and a solid little root system, and then go ahead and cut that umbilical stem connecting it to the mother. Fourth, carefully dig up the clone, keeping its soil ball intact, and transplant it to its new permanent bed. But wait, step 4 is actually where most people fail.
How you put that clone into the ground completely dictates its survival. You see, the strawberry plant has a sensitive growing point called the heart, or the crown. If you dig a deep hole and bury that crown below the soil line, moisture gets trapped inside it, the plant rots, and it dies. Conversely, if you plant it way too high with the roots exposed, it just dries out. So the crown must sit exactly at the soil's surface. This is totally non-negotiable if you want the plant to thrive. And this brilliantly illustrates another major planting secret, this time regarding the roots. When you dig up your clone, the roots might be super long and stringy. If you just shove them into a shallow hole and they bend upwards, like the shape of a J, the plant will suffer stunted growth for its entire first year. Instead, do not be afraid to trim those roots with a clean pair of shears to about 7 centimeters. Trimming them allows you to plant them pointing straight down, which actually triggers the plant to push out explosive, vigorous new root growth. Moving on to Section 4, troubleshooting common issues, protecting your clones. Now, even with absolutely perfect technique, nature is going to throw some curveballs. Because we typically transplant these rosettes in mid to late summer, they're often subjected to intense heat. Here's the problem with that. Those young, freshly trimmed roots simply cannot absorb water as fast as the leaves are evaporating it in the hot sun. This leads to fatal wilting. The absolute easiest fix? Just artificially shade your newly planted rosettes for 2 to 3 days. You can use old newspapers, some cardboard, or even just prop a handful of tall grass over them. It dramatically reduces transplant shock. You also really need to keep a very close eye out for major pests on your mother plants before you ever even decide to clone them. Things like strawberry mites, powdery mildew, and nematodes can absolutely ruin a patch. But I really want to draw your attention specifically to aphids. Aphids aren't just annoying, they are the primary vectors for dangerous viral diseases. If a mother plant has a virus, the runner is going to carry that virus straight into your new clone, no exceptions. To combat these pests, commercial growers and expert gardeners use a somewhat ruthless but highly effective technique. Immediately after the final summer harvest, they literally mow down the old strawberry leaves and burn or discard them. This completely destroys the habitat for mites and mildews, leaving a totally clean slate for the plant to push out new, healthy autumn growth. However, there is one crucial exception here. If your garden is at a high altitude, specifically over 800 meters, do not do this. The growing season up there is just too short, and the plants won't have time to grow a new canopy to protect their crowns before the winter freezes hit.
All right, Section 5, additional tips, maximizing your yield.
If you're putting in all this work, you definitely want to maximize your garden space, right? So let's quickly break down the math of planting schemes. If you have a standard garden, a single row setup with 50 to 70 centimeters between the rows works great because it makes weeding super easy. But if you want to really maximize your yield per square meter, you've got to look at the double row scheme. You basically pair 2 rows closely together, leaving a wider walking path between the pairs. This double row setup is absolutely perfect if you plan to lay down black foil mulching and snake a single drip irrigation line right between the 2 rows. It saves water, stops the weeds, and seriously boosts your harvest. Now, what's really interesting about this next bit is the sheer scale of commercial biosecurity. When professional nurseries grow elite mother plants solely to produce runners, they require a massive 5.0 kilometer minimum isolation distance from any other strawberry fields. Why? Well, it's because of those aphids we mentioned earlier. They can easily be blown by the wind carrying viruses with them. While you obviously don't need a 5-kilometer buffer in your own backyard, it just proves how incredibly vital it is to start with healthy, completely disease-free mother plants. In the space you do have, pay close attention to companion planting and soil chemistry. Strawberries absolutely love following legumes. Beans and peas naturally fix nitrogen in the soil, leaving behind the perfect nutrient profile for your berries. On the flip side, keep them far, far away from tomatoes, peppers, and potatoes because they share devastating soil-borne diseases like verticillium wilt. Just give your new clones well-draining sandy loam with a slightly acidic target pH of 5.5 to 6.5, and they will reward you endlessly. Finally, Section 6, wrapping up, final care and expectations. To wrap up our masterclass, we really must look at the immediate aftercare. Establishing that freshly trimmed root system requires constant, reliable moisture. You really must commit to watering your new plants daily, or at the very least every other day, for the first 2 to 3 weeks. But here is a massive pro tip for you. Do not shock them with freezing cold well water. Ensure your water temperature is above 15 degrees Celsius. This warmth actually signals the roots to keep expanding into their new environment, rather than shutting down from cold stress.
Before we go, I want to leave you with this important disclaimer. While the biological mechanics of runners are universal, your specific success really relies on adapting to your local climate, your unique soil variables, and the exact species of strawberry you're growing. Take these foundational practices, observe how your plants respond, and adjust accordingly. Experimentation is honestly the true joy of gardening. So apply these steps and enjoy your infinite harvest. But it does make you wonder, if strawberries can clone themselves this easily, what other secret cloning superpowers are hiding in the rest of the plants in your garden?